Restokim Grosseria. Nidius Entertainment. Wah, pakai fitur lifestyle di BCA Mobile. Semua bisa terkabul, mantul. Makanya buka tabungan dulu di BCA Mobile.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. I hope everyone has had their coffees and their bagels. My name is Mandy from TFR, and before we start, I'd like to say thank you for inviting us, Pak Anthony, Pak Martin, and GDP Ventures. Today, we are blessed with the presence of Coffee Meets Bagels' very own CMO, Delbert. Hello, how are you?
I'm good. And thank you as well, Pak Martin, GDP, and everyone for having me here. And yeah, I'm good. Having a great morning. I started early. I woke up 4:30 a.m. to have my meetings with the US, but I'm very energized and very excited to have this chat.
Great. Thank you so much for having us. Now, you are the CMO of Coffee Meets Bagel, and you have a wife. Naturally, did you match with your wife on CMB?
So I have to be honest, I did not. And there's a very good reason because I met my wife before CMB had actually launched here in Asia. So I met my wife the traditional way. We met each other at work, and from there, sparks flew, and now we have a baby boy.
Congratulations. Well, I'm a Gen Z. I'm 21, and I have always known the presence of dating apps. So maybe we can discuss a little bit about the difference of the dating culture the past 20 years. Because CMB is one of those apps that really changed the way we approach couples and dating nowadays.
Yeah, so if you think about dating, the most traditional would have been meetings through friends, family, work. In fact, there's a time series chart that I've seen wherein in the 1990s, the most people met their partners through friends, work, and family. But as new online dating solutions came about, so the very first ones were from Match.com, eHarmony, OkCupid. This was on websites, online desktops. So this happened in the first dot com boom. And then eventually the rise of mobile, iPhones, Android, paved way for a new kind of dating solution, which would be on your phone, which is a lot more convenient and a lot more engaging. That's where apps like Tinder and CMB really came about. So in the last 10 years. And the way I see it, more and more people, like Mandy here, are more likely to meet their partner in the future on these apps. Hopefully, it's CMB, but this is gonna be the new norm. And the other thing that I find quite interesting as a next stage to this is the business aspect of it. So, if you think about how the app ecosystem in general started, wherein most apps were free, you use the apps free of charge, and then over time, in the last maybe 5 years, where payment systems, monetization have become a lot more mature, and it became more accepted or more normalized to buy things online, buy things through the app, whether it's in-game currency, whether it's ordering food delivery apps from Gojek. All of these things have now normalized. And actually, you also see the same thing when it comes to online dating, wherein apps like Coffee Meets Bagel, it's free to use, and most of the things that are there, you don't need to pay anything. And in fact, you're very likely to meet someone there without paying a single cent. But at the same time, we're working on more features to add more value to help you meet your partner, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Wow. Is anyone a user of Coffee Meets Bagel here? Please be honest. No one. No one has tried Coffee Meets Bagel?
Still shy, still
Still
shy.
shy, still shy. Well, I just downloaded Coffee Meets Bagel, and I can say that I've met several matches that are not shady, real, genuine people with a lot of mutual friends, honestly. Now, I want to touch on the marketing of how you're able to market, especially in the early days, to an Asian demographic, to an Asian society where, in a way, women are more conservative to go into the dating pool before. How do you break into that?
So we have to go back at the beginning where Coffee Meets Bagel actually was founded by two Korean American sisters. They're actually twin sisters. So when you see them, it's very hard to tell them apart. But they started Coffee Meets Bagel because when they were single, they were also struggling with the opportunities out there when it came to finding a partner. So they thought really hard, like how there must be, a better way out there. And because, they're coming from the Asian culture, they're thinking about Asian sensibilities. Like, what do you look for in a partner? So that's actually how Coffee Meets Bagel is designed. And it's quite different from most other apps out there, wherein there's more of an emphasis on education, where you're working, not just if you're hot or not. And because that's, when you're thinking of a serious partner, you need to find someone who's more than just an attractive person that you'll fall
That's
in love
true.
with.
That's true, especially in the Asian culture, yeah? You need to, I mean, go from a good university, have a good job, have a good salary, and look good. And I can find that match in Coffee Meets Bagel.
You wanna have someone you'll bring home to mom, and then they'll approve. So that's something about Coffee Meets Bagel. In fact, what's interesting is we did a survey with some of our users, wherein we have users across different age demographics. There's the Gen X, millennials, even Gen Z. And it's quite interesting, the dating behavior, wherein Gen Z, more than half of Gen Z was actually comfortable asking about salaries on the first date.
Transparency is great, I guess.
So it's really interesting because those things matter as much, if not more, than just how you look, whether
Yes.
you're good looking, whether you're tall, whether all these other physical attributes. And that's how CMB was designed from the very beginning.
So we can conclude that what differentiates you within the dating app market is that you are for the ones you die for, I guess.
Well, hopefully not die, but definitely for serious relationships. And most of the dating apps out there are designed for casual relationships or meeting someone for friendship, or not not so much for a serious relationship. And that's an intentional decision because most modern app design philosophy is really about, I want you to keep coming back on the app. If you find that one person and then you delete the app, then no more business, right? But with CMB, we believe that our purpose is helping people find a serious relationship, and how that makes business sense for us is when that person finds that right person, they'll tell all their friends about it. Like, in fact, for us, we have this number internally wherein for every person we believe that finds someone on CMB and then obviously deletes the app, they actually tell at least five other people. And then that drives more people to go check out CMB and see if they can find their serious relationship partner there. And that's one of the big reasons, going back to your questions, how you can market with very little budget, and how you can market, especially in a conservative kind of environment. The simple answer is have a successful outcome, have that successful outcome, share with the rest.
I'm a real testimony right here. I market CMB, I put it on my close friends, and a lot of people are actually downloading the app because of how fun it is, because of how many people that you can meet. Now, how does CMB actually filter out the matches for us?
So the way CMB filters it or provides you profiles. So just to kind of give everyone the refresher, right? Like when you open the app every day, CMB serves you what we call bagels. So you have a fresh batch of bagels. These are profiles that we think will suit you. And how we think it will suit you is actually quite simple. So when you create your profile, you determine your preferences,
Yes.
what kind of person you want to meet. And then what we do is we try to find people within Coffee Meets Bagel who also fit what you're looking for, but you also fit what they're looking for. So there's a overlap. With this overlap, this would be the best opportunity, we believe, for you to find a serious partner. So a lot of the profiles that will serve would be people who share your same preferences.
Yes, a mutual interest.
Exactly.
And this is how you determine an interface that is fitting for a serious relationship?
Yes. So we believe that if you're looking for the same kind of things, then you're more likely to actually progress to the next stage. So I'll give an example. When on CMB, you can put, let's say, your educational profiles, right?
Yes.
Um, you can actually filter for, okay, I want to meet someone who, let's say, has a master's degree. Then you can filter for that.
Oh, wow, you can.
Yes, so you can filter for that because if that's what you're looking for. Now, there's also a downside to that. The downside to that is if you're somewhere where there's not a lot of master's degree holder, maybe you won't get many profiles. So you have to balance with what's important to you, what are really deal breakers, and finding someone.
I see. All right. Well, I'm going to match with someone out of my criteria now. Now, this is a business of emotions, this is a business of love. And I think what you do great is that whenever I match someone and the person doesn't like me back, I wouldn't know. So, how do you create an interface other than that that protects the user's feelings, that doesn't make them feel rejected? Because of course, rejection is everyone's fear.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So CMB has a couple of features that are unique. One of those is what we call the activity report. So, and this is a paid feature. So if you're on the CMB paid subscription, you get access to what we call the activity report. So every profile, you'll see if this person is active on chat, how often they reply. So you actually can determine if you want to spend your time on this person. So that's one feature that we think is quite specific to
Yeah,
finding
yeah.
a serious relationship.
Yes.
The other thing that we do is uh, we help daters who match find an opportunity to go out in the real world. So one example of that is we tried this feature in some geographies wherein if you and a certain and your match,
Mm-hmm.
you can actually go to specific restaurants and get a free drink together if you're a match on CMB. Now, what's powerful about that is it actually encourages you to bring up in the conversation about
Yes.
a date.
Ah,
And
yeah.
one of the things that we found to be a blocker when you actually are chatting, we see many couples actually just chat, 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 and then it goes nowhere. And the reason for that is that fear of rejection. Because
That's true.
to bring up that, hey, I think we should go out for a date, we should go to this place, there's a fear. What if they say no? What if they don't like your idea? So by having CMB tell its users that, hey, there is a place that we've partnered with that if you go there with your date, you can get a free drink. So it makes it easier. So we lower down the barrier.
Mm. So there's a value chain with other industries as well, such as the F&B industry.
Yes.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, so definitely there's like a win-win opportunity there wherein we're able to drive traffic. And it's not just like any kind of traffic, it's traffic that is high value,
Mhm.
traffic that is high intent to all these places. So and it's also a win for our daters because like I said, it's a date idea. It's something that they think they can bring up in their chats. And it's something that is a win for us because the more people go out in real life dates, the more people we believe will find a serious relationship.
Yes, that's very true. Um, so other than the F&B industry, what other businesses do you think CMB can have a mutual value with each other? And if there are any other industries you're planning to grow?
So I think anything that uh, first of all is aligned from a value standpoint with CMB, we'll figure out how to make it work. So, for example, in Singapore, we did a partnership with Saif. Saif is a fintech company, and we thought about like what's similar when it comes to CMB and Saif.
Mhm.
And if you're making an investment, that's not very different from making an investment in love because you have to choose. You have to say like this is the one and I'm going to go all in,
Yes.
right? So we found that similarity and we were able to craft a story around that that made sense for both brands.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the other thing that we are working on would be like, let's say we recently partnered with Food Panda. Food Panda is a delivery service that's quite big around different parts of Asia. And for International Coffee Day, we featured their mascot, Pau Pau, on our app. So where if you spot Pau Pau and you match with Pau Pau, you can actually get a free cup of coffee. So all of these interesting partnerships we see can be a win-win result for all because it's a win for us. We're able to engage and enliven our user base. Our users find it great because they get either more value or they're able to have a better match rate. And it's a win for the partner because they can do something that is really interesting and it's quite different from what they've done before.
So if I can ask for a date right now in CMB with a guy that I'm talking to for 3 days, for example, then CMB can recommend me a restaurant or CMB can sort of give us a restaurant option to go to where we can link up and have a serious relationship afterwards, hopefully.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
All right. Well, I'd like to touch on a fear of one thing when it comes to dating apps. I mean, of course, you discussed about the fear of rejection. But I think the one factor that makes me stay away for 21 years from dating apps is catfishing. Now, I've heard a lot of horror stories from people who have met online, have been chatting for months, and then the moment they meet, it's a completely different individual. And it's a scary thing for especially for a woman, right? Now, how does CMB combat catfishing, or how do you plan to navigate your users to decrease this experience?
So CMB does this through three ways. The first one is we work with a partner which has an algorithm that reviews all the profiles, and based on certain attributes will flag out suspicious behavior. So that's the first filter. Now, profiles that exceed a certain number of flags will automatically get banned. So they won't be able to create an account, they won't be able to like other people, they won't be able to do anything. Now, there's a second layer to that, which is a human layer. So the human layer will review certain cases that pop up. So, for example, um, an example of a flag that the system automatically bans is people with the same picture, same profile. And the thinking there is that is identity theft. So we want to stop that.
Yes.
Like if someone downloads your picture and then creates a profile,
Yes.
then that's like no go, right? So in this case, however, there are edge cases wherein they're legitimate. So for example, you download CMB last year. After a while, you stop using. Maybe you met someone, um, didn't work out, and then you download CMB again this year, but you forgot your password, so you just create a new account. So in this case, you're the same person, but it will get flagged. So we have a human element to check against that to review on these case by case basis.
Ah, okay.
The last one is we encourage users to report any suspicious behavior they see. So if a profile gets enough people reporting about them, then that profile automatically gets banned as well. So we err on the side of being more conservative because it's important that we create a safe environment for our users.
Yes, I agree with that. I mean, I just downloaded Coffee Meets Bagel through 3 weeks ago, and there are people coming into my DMs and asking if it's actually me, if I'm the real user. And I've had a lot of like fraudulent accounts. People taking my picture and my identity and posting them not only on dating apps like other dating platforms, but also on Twitter or on Instagram, and it's a scary thing to combat. I mean, have you ever tried to market it to women that it's safer, that CMB is a safer option, or how do you plan to market so that women feel more safe within the dating industry online? Women and men, actually.
So the way we communicate this is we do active education to our user base. Because going back, a lot of our growth is organic. A lot of our growth is through word of mouth. So the way we see it, if you educate your user base, when they share about CMB, they pass on that education. So
Yes.
we educate our daters in the how to be safe, how to spot red flags. So for example, um, if a person is too good to be true, like let's say the person is overtly affectionate, like maybe first time chatting with this person and then they already share I love yous or
So
your whatever. Yeah.
personality-wise also comes into the
Yeah.
factor of red flags,
Yeah,
yeah?
you have to be careful. You have to be careful with these kind of things because like as much effort as we put in creating a safe environment,
Mhm.
at the end of the day we can't do 100%. So
Yes.
we give advice, we give specific tips to be smart with how you're engaging with other users. So if someone comes up to you and, without much engagement is already professing their love, that's kind of
That's
sketch.
obsession.
Yeah, that's kind of sketch. So be wary of that. The other thing is, it might sound obvious,
Mhm.
do not share financial details. They do not do that. Like that's something we advise very specifically. That's a no go. If someone has you have not met asks you about all these things,
I mean,
please
are there
report.
scammers? Are there
Yes,
money scammers in CMB?
there are money scammers everywhere because what they do is they'll find vulnerabilities, they'll
Yes.
see, and it's like a game of whack a mole. We'll understand their pattern, and then we input that into the algorithm,
Mhm.
and then they'll figure out a new pattern. So scam is an issue everywhere, um, and what's actually the media has been covering it in the last couple of months. Crypto scammers, wherein they'll ask you to invest or they'll ask to borrow some money. These kind of things, if you ever match with someone and they ask about these things, just report.
I mean, another type of user is probably one of those who promotes pyramid schemes to their dates.
Yes.
Is there a term for it in the dating world?
So what the media has been calling it is a pig butcher scammer.
Big butcher
No,
scammer.
pig,
Pink.
pig.
Ah, okay.
So because the idea is they fatten up the victim
Yes.
and then butcher it. And that's something that's happened with with in the rise of with COVID. Lots of
Mhm.
people like we've seen this happen, and that's why it's important to really create a safe environment and continuously educate users.
Right. I mean, I've had a personal close friend of mine who went on a couple dates. Turns out it's a pyramid scheme salesman, and it was very devastating for her. Now, how is catfishing, scammers, pink butchers, and frauds handled so it doesn't become a permanent issue later on, other than educating the users?
So I think the way forward for this is as algorithms get smarter,
Yes.
as you bring in AI, you will get to a point wherein you're able to stay a step ahead of all these people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you're able to truly create a safe space. The other thing could be, this is something that I've thought about having background in telecoms, wherein telecom is actually very, very good at weeding out people who will pay versus people who will not pay. And I think there's a lot to learn from that. Wherein, if there's insight or a shared blacklist, then you're actually able to create a shared knowledge base across different dating apps. I think that could be a potential future.
Yes. And I'd like to congratulate CMB as well for deploying zero marketing budget for CMB Indonesia. Is it for all of Southeast Asia or for Indonesia specifically?
So it's all so basically today we only spend in the US. And that's
Wow.
primarily because US is very mature dating market. It has a lot of dating apps. So
Yeah.
in the rest of the world, we actually don't spend any money. We just rely completely on word of mouth and organic growth. And that has been amazing in showing year on year growth for us that we have just been extremely happy about.
Yes. Even in my own personal experience, my mom would be okay if I'm playing CMB, but not okay if I'm playing the other apps. I cannot say the one that starts with T. But it's amazing how you were able to create user-generated content and promote that, and that brings in so much more users in exchange. Maybe you'd like to touch on that.
Yeah, definitely. So I was sharing with Mandy that in the US, now, one way that we actually stand out from a marketing perspective is we don't make a single ad. We don't produce any commercials. The only thing that we do is we get the testimonials of users and we just spend money to drive reach for those testimonials. And what this does is it creates a native content that is engaging to other users. And through that, you get better marketing efficiencies.
It feels real, it feels safe. and
Exactly.
Very authentic.
Exactly.
All right, now we have 5 minutes left. I think I have a couple last questions for you about the future of CMB. I think I'd like to ask, how can AI fit to CMB in the foreseeable future?
I think AI, the first major use case is probably going to be in relation to safety, like we were sharing earlier. AI will be able to detect patterns that basic algorithms or even humans won't be able to do. I think that's going to be a big thing. The other thing I see AI will do is better matchmaking. And when the more AI develops, the more information it gets, the better its predictive ability becomes. And I think hopefully maybe in the future we're in with a system that has an even better AI, more training, deeper knowledge. Maybe you'll find your match much sooner than today.
2 better matches.
Yeah. But that's also another thing to think about. An AI is telling you who you're matched with. So
Oh my God, we're like in an episode of Black Mirror, you know? And there's that one episode that I watched. I'm like, this is the future. So, are there any future developments are you excited about in the tech world, tech dating world in general?
I think specifically for CMB, one thing I'm excited about that will be rolling out more across the world and localizing it is this new profile element that we've added, which is causes and values, wherein it's not enough just to know if someone is right for you based on education, where they work, and all of those things. These days, with the many divisive topics, divisive issues happening globally in every country, it's important that you find a partner that you actually are on the same page with.
Yes, of course.
And whatever those things are, you want to know sooner rather than later because, like, let's say, like, think politics. Someone might be on the left side, but someone might be on the right side. You don't want to find out on the 10th date and then, oh no, we're incompatible because of, we have different political beliefs. So it's something that we're rolling out, and later on we'll be doing localization so it becomes more specific to a country.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for the very complex explanation about the marketing and everything of CMB. It's very interesting to see, and to see that CMB is taking the steps to make it a safer place for all users. I think our time has wrapped up. Thank you so much, Delbert, and thank you so much to the audience for listening.
Thank you. Thank you.
Beli-beli. Beli-beli. Beli-beli-beli.
Gratis ongkir. Beli-beli.
Beli-beli. Gratis ongkir. Download Beli-beli sekarang. Beli-beli.
Beli-beli.
Beli-beli tepat waktu. Beli-beli.
Beli-beli. Tepat waktu. Download Beli-beli sekarang.
Beli-beli.
Beli-beli.
Beli-beli pasti ori.
Beli-beli.
Beli-beli pasti ori. Download Beli-beli sekarang. Pasti puas, pasti Beli-beli.